God promises in 2 Corinthians 12 and verse 10, "Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I'm strong." You know, the first time I read this scripture, I thought, this guy's got to be some kind of a nut. Talk about an elevator that doesn't go to the top. I mean, talk about a lawnmower that doesn't have a spark plug. He cannot be saying that he has pleasure or he's happy when problems come. Can he? When we think of things that bring us pleasure, I think of a cup of coffee in the morning with a piece of freshly baked banana bread. Or I think of churches dismissed and holding the hands with my sweetheart, walking out to the car. Or I think of my grandkids, picking them up, throwing them in the air, listening to them scream, Nana screaming, my son-in-law, he's looking cross-eyed at me, and my daughter, she's smiling at me because she remembers when I used to do it to her. But, you know, suffering and problems, that never enters into the picture of what I think is pleasant. But you know, there was a therefore in that verse. And anytime you see a therefore, you got to go back and see what it's there for. And he said unto thee, my grace is sufficient for thee. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest on me. Therefore, because he received God's grace and help in time of need, he says, now I'm relying on Jesus instead of myself. I take pleasure in infirmities. See, our dependence is upon Jesus and not on ourselves. Leaning on Jesus, that allows us to not only get to know him more personally, on a personal basis, but it allows us to get victory where defeat was certain. There was no way we were going to win. But now we got God's help, and now we got Jesus on our side, so there's no way we're going to live. That's why Paul says, bring on your Red Seas, bring on your desert, bring on your giants. Why? Because Goliath, you got rocks in your head if you think me and Jesus can't whip you. Oh, I take pleasure in infirmities. Why? Because that's when I got Jesus helping me.